Right. Good afternoon. Good day to you. If it's not afternoon, welcome. Thanks for watching. Let's see them. What is up? Abiada Haugen over on YouTube. Nice to see you, my friend. All right. I have a browser open. So, welcome. For anyone that is new, if you don't know, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on Discord and GitHub. This is the Deep Dive, which is a weekly live stream program working on stuff around the CircuitPython project. It was a live stream that was started originally by Scott Shawcroft, lead developer, CircuitPython. He is back to a more full-time schedule now, but he's not starting back up deep dives until next year, I believe is the plan currently. And when Scott is not around for deep dive, I try to fill in if I am around. I am usually not working on stuff that is quite as low level as him. He tends to be working on whatever is, up and coming in CircuitPython core itself. And I am usually working at the Python level a bit more, although we do venture into the core sometimes as well, like we did a bit last week, in fact. If you don't know what CircuitPython is, you can learn more about it here at the main website, circuitpython.org. It is basically a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. Typically, the way it works when you use CircuitPython with these devices, you plug them in to your computer with a USB cable. They show up like a thumb drive. You can edit a Python code file that's on that thumb drive, and when you save it, the microcontroller will execute the Python code for you that you save into that file. Today, I am back on the Fruit Jam. So this little mini computer device, this is a microcontroller, RP2350. It's got a boatload of extra peripherals built in, like a USB hub and some USB ports, a DVI video output there with an HDMI-shaped plug, an SD card adapter, a Wi-Fi chip, some NeoPixels. It's got all kinds of stuff, audio, I2S amplifier, all kinds of stuff built in. I do have the DVI video captured right now in VLC, and so that's what I'll be working on during the stream today. To wrap up the intro, though, before we get to that, I will say thanks, as always, to Adafruit. The Fruit Jam is an Adafruit design, as are many of the other CircuitPython devices, although not all of them. There are lots of third-party ones there as well. Let's turn the dark mode off so we can have the correct-looking stuff here. If you would like to help CircuitPython and all of us that work on it, Adafruit pays both Scott and myself, as well as a couple other folks, to work on CircuitPython, as well as the surrounding infrastructure and projects and learn guides and all sorts of other things. If you would like to help support them and CircuitPython more generally, as well as loads of other open source software that Adafruit does, I'll add. CircuitPython is only one open source initiative that Adafruit does. There's lots of open source Arduino code as well. So if you want to help support them, CircuitPython, and the rest of the open source software that they support, one of the easiest ways to do it is by purchasing hardware from them on their website, adafruit.com. You can get Fruit Jam, you can get all kinds of other microcontrollers, you can also get all kinds of extra doodads, bells and whistles, lights, buzzers, beepers, sensors, all kinds of stuff that you can hook up to your microcontroller to make fun and interesting projects with. So jumping in today, I am working, like I said, on the Fruit Jam. I'm working on this gift card maker thing. So we're taking the snowflake generator that I built last week. I think it was last weekend. I don't think it was on Deep Dive, but I think it was on my stream on Saturday. I built this snowflake maker where you could click some points and it would cut shapes out for you, and then it would mirror vertical and horizontal in order to make a snowflake. And I'm now building that into a more fully fledged sort of like Print Shop Pro or Corel Print Draw, whatever it was back in the day, application that can make just some very basic gift cards. So I'm not going to blow it up because it's just a piece of paper here, so I know it's not super big, but I just have a piece of paper. It's folded in quarters. It's got like a snowflake design on the front When you open it, it's got some text on one of the insides there, and then on the back it does have like a nice little made with fruit jam logo, which I thought was cool. And so, we'll see as I get working here how all this works. I'm not going to run through it ahead of time because you'll see all the parts as I do them. But that is what I'm working on, is a utility that runs on the fruit jam. It lets you customize the message on the front, the message on the inside, the snowflake, and then it generates a file which you can then open on your PC and print. And the first thing I need to do is fix the size, because I developed this whole program assuming 320 by 240. And I have since changed my Fruit Jam's resolution to test something else. And so now it's big, and now this generate button is way out here in the black hole of Neverland. So really what we want is this program really wants to be run at 320 by 240, which we can easily achieve by using Fruit Jam library from Adafruit fruitjam.peripherals, or I think it's request display config. That might be right, but let's find out. Be able to just say 320 240 by this, I think, and everything else will just work as long as I have the name of the function right. Yeah, so it'll go black because it's reinitializing the display, and yeah, now we have, well, we have two things actually, technically. It's one of them's a little easier to tell than the other. Obviously, the size is now way different. Everything is zoomed in, so to speak. We're looking at what was in just the top corner, and obviously this button is now back with the rest of his friends. We also have more colors as well, so the white on the back is actually more white and less off-white, as well as like the teal and the purple are a bit more saturated or something. Basically, they're a slightly brighter color. Okay, and so where I am wanting to work next, now that we have the size fixed, is so for one thing, we should empty out this inside message. This is basically where I left off. So this would be, the idea here is you have both a mouse and a keyboard plugged into the Fruit Jam, which I do. I have a wireless USB keyboard. I have a wireless USB mouse, both plugged into my Fruit Jam. We're able to click there. Let's see, what was that? What is this on? Second, sorry. Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. These are basically like input boxes. So the input box up here is for the front message, just like this says. Okay, so there's another thing we need to fix, actually. These should not both turn pink. The idea is pink is supposed to be the focused one. Only one of them really should be focused, so that's something we can fix. The top one here, though, is for the front message, so that gets printed on the front of the card above the snowflake. And then this one here is for the inside message, and it's a bigger box because it can hold more text. And the idea is you click in these to give them focus, and then you can type, and you can also backspace. So, right, like hello deep dive or something like that, right? But the idea is you'd put like a holiday message or whatever message you want for the card you're making inside of here. And I would like it to start empty instead of starting with inside message, which is going to be a super easy change. You just need to go find the place where that is created, which is in here. So there's the label. I want to keep the label, but the actual input box itself, the inside message input, and this one I want no text when we first start. It should be empty. Oh, none type has no fill. Did I really break it again? I've fixed a bunch of things. Well, let's figure out what's going on. There's not another thing broken. Bitmap fill. Yeah, there is another thing broken. That's unfortunate. Yeah, and I didn't notice it because I had text in my thing to start with. We need to fix that, I guess. So slight diversion. I'm going to go to display text. There's been a lot of churn right now in display text library. We did a bunch of refactoring and then a couple of fixes after the fact. As well as some new like tweaking of behaviors, essentially, even after the changes. At 248, we're gonna need to fix this. So if we probably just it's not gonna work if we do that either, actually. Okay, so the problem is I just recently made this change to make it so that when the text box is empty, it will still get drawn. And the change was essentially getting rid of some code that was here that was throwing away the old bitmap and instead just filling the old bitmap with emptiness. Which is problematic if there never was an old bitmap, which would be the case if you initialize the text box with an empty string, such as what I have just done, and what lots of other code does, unfortunately. But I did test a bunch of these, though, and it never crashed like that. That crash now, though. Oh, Phil, I mean, there is no bitmap. Just tested a bunch of those where they set the text to empty. I'm very confused by that. Let's take the latest version of a weird version. I think that's the case, but before we go chase a thing that doesn't exist, let's make sure the thing actually exists. Oh, that's a bummer, because it means I just broke it. But I still am very confused, though, because I definitely tested, like, several different programs with this. Okay, I tested this one for sure, but this one didn't actually matter because, well, it's not that it didn't matter, but it didn't test this problem specifically. Because it started with text inside of it. Okay, so it's going to get the value of text or an empty string. It's going to do these things. It's going to call reset text. Basically, what we really want is not that. Basically, what we really want is the first time that we call reset text, we want to make sure we don't have an empty. We want to make sure that we don't have an empty text. It's not text. Be this. Well, is going to be empty string instead of none. Okay, so I think we can just cheat for the first one. So if it was none, then it's empty. We give it a space so that it will actually create the bitmap. And then we can put it back to empty string afterwards. It's so weird. I still know. '97. Okay, so we actually have the problem that actually have the well, first of all, I thought this was changed too. I'm a little confused by that. Not not working. Isn't that what this was? Or it removed it? That removed it. Oh, okay. I thought that added it. Read that before. So, yeah, really the problem is inside of here, it ends up calling this. So this is actually happening earlier than I'd expected. And this will actually just reset the text afterwards. So I think we could maybe just do this. If text is blank, make it a space, call super init. That should make the bitmap, I guess. And then we do the rest of our stuff. We're actually at this point resetting text again, which seems wasteful, but we do actually need to do that because we're changing the text in the case where it's not empty. Case where it's actual text, we could be wrapping it to lines. Still none. I'm gonna fix labels, I guess, instead of work on the printer thing. So this is still, it's going inside of here, knit, but it just does quargs instead of, that's annoying. Okay, so the problem is it's not looking at text inside of here, it's looking at quargs. So I mean, we're still gonna, we still already have the original value put into lines, so we can modify quargs, and it shouldn't bother anything. I don't know if that's how this works. Can you just do that? Maybe we can't use space. Space treated special? Okay. I mean, if we could get it to have a space instead, it should work. Can you quargs.set? Oh, it's just, isn't it it's a dictionary, right? So I should be able to update text? Because I tested against none, it's not going to be none, it's going to be empty. This. Okay, finally, there we go. Yes. Honestly, I don't really like that as much, but... Okay. Yeah. And we can always show a space, even like I don't think that space is technically stays there. I think it goes in once, it creates the bitmap, and then after that, it's gonna call reset text again, which is actually gonna get rid of the space to the extent that it was anything other than absence of things, but I don't know. I'm still very confused how I didn't see this when I tested this on a bunch of ones. I did basically all the ones in FruitJam OS. I did Minesweeper, um, Challenge, Memory, Snake. Those all use text box, and they thought they all set it to blank. Yeah, I don't understand. Okay. Detour successfully navigated back to the main road here. Okay, so we have an empty box, right? We got our empty box. So the next thing to fix is what I saw before. These can both turn pink, and that's not really supposed to be the case. If one of them is pink and you click the other one, it should unpink the first one, because it's meant to be like a focus indicator, essentially. So that is down here. When the mouse gets clicked, press buttons, when the card setup page is visible, and they left clicked, and the cooldown is passed, this is the input. So yeah, this is where we want. So just setting the background color of that, I think what we can do is just also set the background color of the other one to the default, which is whatever I chose. I'm not actually sure. This one. These. And then opposite here, so this sets that one to pink, and it should set this one to gray. And it already, so this was just a visual bug. Oops, this should be gray. It's just a visual bug. It already was reassigning focused input, which would be the one where the actual text from the keyboard is going. So this would not have caused the text from the keyboard to go to the wrong place, only the pink. Nope. Int has no anchored position. I mean, that's true. Don't really see how what I just did has anything to do with that. It's certainly true. Background. Did I set the thing itself? I set the thing itself, okay. Background color. The one I copied, so it didn't matter. Or I didn't do it wrong, not that it didn't matter. There we go, okay. Oop, 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 oop. I was typing on the wrong keyboard. When you'll see when crazy on me. I don't even know what I just did. That's okay. That's what we want. Always fit window. To type on the correct keyboard. Oh, the space is still there though. Oh, did I leave it in this code? No, because I took it out. I think it's definitely an extra space. That fix. So yeah, we're not actually done with the detour. It turns out. Because then this gets a space afterwards. Well, this is done before though. This is done before. Pixels. It puts it on lines. This calls to make it space super init. And then now text goes back to lines, which should be empty. All right, let's say text empty. False. Text empty. True. Still there. But I have made a right mess of the labels. I didn't just leave it here. Empty. Really different than none? So it set it to space and then it set it to none. But after it gets created, it already has a space in it. But it didn't go back to empty. Original text, I think the full text now, actually. The thing is, it used to be internally called _text. but with the recent refactor, which I've just done this week, it's still there. With the recent refactor, it caused it to be full text for the internal variable that contains all of the text. Because bitmap label, which this extends, now has scrolling. And scrolling means it only shows some portion of the text at one time. So that was already updated. Maybe I should not use... Maybe I should not... I mean, setting this back to none, not really doing anything afterwards. Lines should have been the empty string. What we originally... Which is what we end up putting... But then this does text. This be full text? Then what's setting underscore? Something is still setting underscore text. That didn't help. It's still in a space. Join lines. If lines is empty, does this not happen? Maybe. Text. Oh. And that is craziness. Still. There's only a getter for text. I mean, a setter. This is only a setter. The getter would come from bitmap label, which returns full text, which returns underscore full text. So this gets set as empty. How can it be back to a space? I set full text back to empty string here, and this got printed, so we know this ran. And then we did these things, and then we called reset, and then that is the end of init. And then I printed text immediately after that, and it was a space. So where did it turn into a space? How did it stay a space, I should say? I mean, obviously it turned into a space ultimately in here because of this, but why is it not turning back when we turn it back? Of course, I didn't differentiate this. So that's empty space there. And just to be clear, after super init, we do. I expect we do have the space after super init. The space, and then this print setting it to none, it actually sets it to empty. We confirm that it's empty, but then we just go and do these things. Is it back to space after this? It is. It's back to space after this. Because this is another one using text. But I'm still confused where underscore text was getting set. Really be happening. These should be fixed. I am scared at this point. Going and changing a bunch more stuff again. This does still exist too. Yes. Scared to. And here, this should now be full text. Well, it should be consistent at the very least. Okay, there we go. Finally, there's no space there. Okay. Okay. So you would enter your messages. I'll leave happy holidays. Your messages. We go to make snowflake. Get this thing, which I created last week, where your job is basically click on here, make a snowflake, but it crashed. Broken text box. Bill. I think that Don't want this. I think I was using this before with a preloaded. I had a preloaded polygon so that I wouldn't have to click as much. Okay, so get a snowflake. Go back to card maker with exit button. Put the message back in here. All right, when we have everything we want, we do generate. Actually, one more thing I want to do on the PC side is eject CP saves. It's going to create a new file on CP saves, and then it's going to remount it. And we want to eject it first so that we can see the new file after it's done. Goes remounting, done. We have CP saves. Now we have card HTML. Card HTML, if we open it, is now our card. I'll turn, well, okay, it did. I turned the dark mode off earlier, but it opened in a different browser. Oh wow, this is so bright it green screens my face a bit. That's funny. But then this is printable. So if you go like print here, you're gonna get a sheet that's ready, that's almost ready to go. You want to do a couple of things. One is margins none, if your thing will let you, and also turn off print header and footers. We'll get rid of the stuff here and up here. And there's a really faint dotted line that goes across the middle and down the middle that you fold on. So you would print this out, you would fold it here, then you would fold it on the other line, and that leaves you with the card like I showed you before. This will be on the front, this will be on the inside, and this will be on the back. I'm not going to print it right now because the printer is nowhere near me. I'd have to get up and go wander around and find it. Is this? That is this one. Okay, so I think, second actually, I am going to, not actually only the, not actually only the white screen that got me. Won't green screen my face, but I look like I'm in a cave. There's only a few minutes left anyway. I'm not gonna mess with the lighting too much. Okay. And there are only a few minutes left. I'm not gonna really be, so I was gonna, one of my plans really was to work on either custom front or custom, well, a custom custom picture, generally speaking. So the card that we just created there, it had the snowflake on the front, but I have also the idea that you'll be able to use a custom SVG or bitmap by choosing one of these, and then you would save a file with that name on your CircuitPy drive, is the idea. And I look like I'm in 007 GoldenEye. '64 graphics, but then that gets me back to like this. Alright, I won't mess with it anymore, but this time of year, the lighting, it gets dark outside, and then this camera is like super sensitive to the indoor lights, I guess. To the point where it's like green screening my face, so look all Terminator. Anyway. But we still need to do this. So I think what we would need to do is copy the file from CircuitPy over to CP saves when we generate the HTML file. Might have time to try one. I don't want to do geometric really, because we already have a is the real download or the fake download? Oh, we do the sweet dinosaur. That sometimes I don't really know why. Maybe I can do it here. Custom, what was it? Custom front SVG. I don't know, my text or my file editor, my file window program sometimes just doesn't, it thinks that I can't write to CircuitPy, but like my IDE, my terminal, all the rest of my computer is like, yeah, no problem. I don't know why the file editor, the file like window manager, file explorer analogy, whatever the Linux version of that is. I'm not actually sure which one it uses, but okay, so let's say when they click generate, we will only do the snowflake if the snowflake checkbox is checked. If the SVG is checked, we want to open custom SVG writable, open saves custom, should be custom front SVG writable. This should actually be readable. We want to read it from CircuitPy and then write it to saves. fout.write fn.read. I will put the status label saving custom SVG. And then it will do the next one afterwards, okay. Custom front, custom front. Okay, and then actually another thing we need to do still is actually the easiest way we could do this is not, so when we move it to saves, if we actually just call it Snowflake, then the template will just work, I think. So let's do that actually, in the interest of maybe trying to see it succeed, instead of having to change more code and potentially break more things. So in this case, we could put something here to test. That matters. We could go custom front, generate, saving custom SVG, saving cards, remounting, and also I forgot to unmount, which means we don't get to see the result, and it takes longer to unmount. And it might not work. Ending. Okay, it went away finally. I'm just going to click generate again to, it should remake the exact same card, and it should remount the thing for me, and I'll be able to see the updated file this time. Because the deal is, like, if you change the file from CircuitPy, the PC won't see the new one. It does not want to go here. Here. And this is still the old one, but actually I was noticing that before. I'm going to control F5, and now it's the new one. So the thing is, it's also caching, the browser is also caching the SVG file. Need to figure out how to turn that off. ML, image, source, disable cache. Really, I want that to load fresh every time. Because it's not smart, I mean, it's not realizing that that's different. Just put nonsense at the end. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We could pass that to the template. And the way this is working in the template, it's an HTML file with mostly just CSS to make a 2x2 grid of quadrants. And we can on here, yes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to redo one real fast, and then we'll wrap it up for the stream after this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to the snowflake. Because the way this was working before, without that fix in there, it would have shown me the dinosaur when the page loads. And I could fix it by refreshing, by like control refreshing, which disables the cache essentially, or forces it to refetch anything that has been cached. All right, there we go. Snowflake. Exit to go back. Escape. And then generate card. Oh. I make this mistake again. Mount. I see that's like instantaneous pretty much if you do it ahead of time. If you generate and then try to unmount, for some reason it takes longer. And I had it get stuck in a weird state, but I was also trying some weird stuff. And then I think, so I could just go here. Could I, what if I just, yeah, there. So the first time I loaded it, we got the updated one. And I think we should continue to get the updated one. As we update it. So if I unmount, I don't even actually have to make a whole new one. I could unmount, I go back into make snowflake. I don't have a whole lot of room left here, but I could cut another little chunk out. Okay, so now those are the new bit. This thing in here, I could escape again. I go generate card again. And I'll just do a new tab the same way. I don't know if hitting refresh. I'm pretty sure hitting refresh would be testing the same thing. Yeah, but now we have this. So it's like always gonna make sure we have the most up-to-date SVG file when we do that. So maybe we should save Snowflake actually as front image or something. That way we're not reusing the name Snowflake for what is now a dinosaur or whatever other custom thing you want. But it is pretty sweet that we can do the custom one now. So if I go eject one more time, go back to here, we could go custom instead of Snowflake. And go here, we could go our generate. I refresh instead of opening a new tab. Yeah, there we go. And that refreshes the first time without needing the super refresh, the control F5, that timestamp trick. Okay, that is going to do it for today. I do still want to do the custom bitmap, so I think maybe I'll work on this some more tomorrow during my stream. If you would like to see more Fruit Jam greetings card making thing, you can come back tomorrow over on my channel, 10 a.m. Central Time. I'll be back to work on that. I should also be back next week for deep dive, normal time deep dive next week, but not the following week. So there will be no deep dive on the 26th, probably no stream for me on the 27th either, but I'm less sure about that. But next week I think is normal, so deep dive on Friday. That is 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central on Friday right here on the Adafruit channel. And then Saturday, the 20th next week, I'll be on my channel as well. Again, 10 a.m. Central Time, same as tomorrow, the 13th. So thank you to everyone for watching along. Sorry we ended up on a bit of a winding side road there for a while with the label stuff, but hopefully you enjoyed the dive into that. It is the deep dive after all, so it mostly works out. Yeah, I think that is all I've got for you. So thanks again for watching. See you next time, and I'll see you later.